The person who keeps disturbing your peace is not always your test to keep. Sometimes they are the warning Allah keeps showing you before they destroy your heart completely. Listen carefully, because toxic people do not always break you loudly. Sometimes they enter your life with sweet words, soft apologies, and fake love, but slowly they steal your calm, your sleep, your smile, and even your connection with Allah. If one person is making you lose the peace Allah gave you, then this reminder may be the sign your heart has been waiting for. Your peace is an amana from Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, the first lesson is this: your peace is not something small, and it is not something cheap. Your peace is an amana from Allah. It is a trust, it is a blessing. It is a gift that many people are begging for in the darkness of the night, but when Allah gives it to you, you must learn how to protect it. Some people think peace is just a feeling. No, peace is the strength that helps you pray with focus. Peace is the calm that helps you forgive without becoming bitter. Peace is the quiet inside your heart that allows you to hear the guidance of Allah instead of the noise of people. When someone toxic enters your life and begins to disturb that peace again and again, they are not only disturbing your mood, they may be disturbing your worship, your sleep, your thoughts, your character, and your connection with Allah. That is why you must be careful who you allow close to your heart. Not everyone who wants access to you deserves access to you. Not everyone who says they love you knows how to love you in a healthy way. Not everyone who apologizes has changed. Not everyone who misses you is good for you. Sometimes the person who keeps coming back is not coming back because they value you. They are coming back because they miss the control they had over your emotions. Allah has given you a heart, and that heart has a limit. It can forgive, but it can also become tired. It can love, but it can also become wounded. It can be patient, but it can also become drained. And when your heart becomes drained by the same person again and again, you must ask yourself, am I being patient for the sake of Allah, or am I allowing someone to destroy the peace Allah gave me? Toxic people are dangerous because they make you feel guilty for protecting yourself. When you stay quiet, they say you are rude. When you speak, they twist your words. When you forgive, they repeat the same harm. When you create distance, they accuse you of changing. But sometimes, you did not change in a bad way. You simply woke up. You simply realized that your heart cannot keep bleeding for people who never care about the wound they caused. وَالصُّلْحُ خَيْرٌ. Peace is better. Peace is better than endless arguments. Peace is better than proving yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. Peace is better than staying connected to someone who keeps pulling you into anger, sadness, overthinking, and emotional exhaustion. Peace is not weakness. Peace is wisdom. Peace is protection. Peace is choosing not to let another person's darkness enter the space where Allah placed light. So never feel guilty for guarding your peace. You can forgive someone and still keep distance. You can make dua for someone and still not give them the same access. You can wish them good and still understand that their presence is not good for your heart. This is not hatred. This is maturity. This is wisdom. This is knowing that your soul belongs to Allah, not to the people who keep breaking it. And remember this deeply. If someone constantly takes you away from calm, away from worship, away from gratitude, away from good character, and away from the best version of yourself, then protecting your peace from them may be one of the most important decisions you make. Because a believer does not protect only their body from harm. A believer also protects the heart, the mind, the faith, and the peace that Allah placed inside them. Not everyone deserves a place in your heart. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that not everyone deserves a permanent place in your heart. Many of us believe that because we love someone deeply, we must continue giving them chance after chance, even when every chance ends with another wound. We convince ourselves that if we become more patient, more understanding, or more forgiving, they will finally change. But the painful reality is that some people do not change simply because you love them more. In fact, some toxic people become even more comfortable hurting you because they know you will always stay. This is why Islam teaches us to have a soft heart, but not a blind heart. Your kindness should never become the reason someone feels free to disrespect you. Your mercy should never become permission for another person to continue harming your soul. Allah did not create your heart to be a place where people repeatedly leave scars while expecting you to smile through the pain. Sometimes a toxic person does not attack your body, they attack your peace. They make you overthink every conversation. They make you question your worth. They make you feel guilty for things that were never your fault. They steal your happiness so slowly that you do not even realize how much of yourself you have lost, until one day you wake up feeling like a stranger in your own heart. You no longer smile the way you used to. Your salah becomes distracted because your mind is full of pain. Your dua becomes filled with tears because one person has occupied the space that should belong to your trust in Allah. Allah says, "La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha." Allah knows the limits of your heart better than you do. He knows how much you have tolerated. He knows the tears you never told anyone about. He knows every night you lay awake wondering why someone you cared for could hurt you so easily. Never think that Allah is unaware of your silent suffering. Every moment of patience is known to Him, but patience does not mean allowing injustice to continue forever. A believer is not someone who gives unlimited access to everyone. A believer is someone who gives trust to those who protect it. If a person repeatedly proves that they cannot respect your heart, your dignity, your boundaries, or your peace, then wisdom is not continuing to suffer. Wisdom is learning from what Allah has already shown you. Some people are blessings, while others are lessons. The mistake is treating a lesson as if it must remain a blessing forever. Always remember this. Your heart belongs to Allah before it belongs to anyone else. Do not hand the keys of that heart to someone who repeatedly leaves it in darkness. Protect it with faith. Fill it with remembrance of Allah. Surround it with people who remind you of Jannah instead of constantly dragging you toward sadness, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. The more you protect your heart for the sake of Allah, the more Allah will replace your pain with a peace that no toxic person can ever take away. The strongest believer is not the one who wins every argument. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest misunderstandings people have is thinking that strength means proving yourself to everyone. They believe that every accusation deserves an answer, every insult deserves a response, and every lie must be corrected immediately. But the truth is, some of the greatest battles are won by refusing to fight them in the first place. Toxic people often survive on conflict. They want your attention more than your agreement. They want your reaction more than your words. The moment they see that they can control your emotions, they feel powerful because they know they have entered your heart without permission. Have you ever noticed how some people seem peaceful until a toxic person enters the room? Suddenly, they become anxious. They begin overthinking every sentence they spoke. They replay conversations in their mind for hours. They lose sleep wondering if they said the wrong thing. They carry stress into their salah. They become impatient with their family. Their smile slowly disappears. The toxic person may only spend a few minutes with them, but the emotional damage continues long after the conversation has ended. This is exactly how peace is stolen. Not in one big moment, but in hundreds of small moments that slowly drain your heart until you no longer recognize yourself. That is why you must understand that every argument is not worth your peace. Every misunderstanding is not worth your energy. Every criticism is not worth your tears. Some people have already decided who you are before you even open your mouth. You could explain yourself for hours, and they would still refuse to understand because understanding was never their goal. Their goal was to keep you emotionally trapped. They want you to keep defending yourself while they continue hurting you. The more you explain, the more they twist your words. The more you try to fix things, the more they find new reasons to blame you. This cycle never ends because the problem is not communication. The problem is the condition of their heart. Allah teaches us a beautiful quality in the Quran. وَإِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Look at the beauty of this guidance. Allah does not tell the believers to win every argument. He teaches them dignity. He teaches them self-control. He teaches them that there are moments when the greatest victory is walking away with your manners still intact. A toxic person expects you to lose control. They expect you to become angry. They expect you to insult them so they can pretend you are the problem. But when you remain calm, when you choose silence over chaos, when you refuse to allow their darkness to change your character, you have already won a battle that many people lose every single day. Silence, however, should never come from fear. It should come from wisdom. There is a huge difference between being unable to speak and choosing not to speak. The Prophet ﷺ was never weak, yet he did not respond to every insult. He did not waste his energy trying to convince hearts that were determined to reject the truth. He focused on what pleased Allah instead of chasing the approval of people. This is a lesson every believer desperately needs today. You do not have to defend yourself against every false story. You do not have to respond to every hateful comment. You do not have to carry every opinion that people throw at you. If Allah knows your truth, why are you exhausting yourself trying to make everyone else believe it? Many of us are emotionally exhausted because we keep giving toxic people something they have not earned, our attention. We allow one message to ruin our entire day. We allow one harsh sentence to erase 10 beautiful blessings Allah has already given us. We allow one person's opinion to become louder than the words of Allah. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you remembered an insult longer than you remembered a blessing? How many nights have you replayed someone's hurtful words instead of remembering the countless favors Allah has placed in your life? This is exactly what toxic people steal. They steal your focus. They steal your gratitude. They steal your ability to see the mercy of Allah because your mind becomes imprisoned by their behavior. My beloved brothers and sisters, there comes a moment when protecting your peace becomes an act of worship. Instead of arguing, you make dua. Instead of seeking revenge, you seek Allah's justice. Instead of proving your innocence to people, you ask Allah to keep your heart sincere. Instead of carrying anger for months, you carry hope that Allah will reward every silent tear that no one else saw. This is not weakness. This is the strength of a believer whose heart has learned where true honor comes from. Never forget this lesson. The strongest believer is not the one who always has the last word. The strongest believer is the one who knows when to remain silent, when to walk away, when to protect the peace Allah has blessed them with, and when to leave the matter entirely in the hands of the one who never fails in justice. One day every hidden truth will be revealed, every injustice will be accounted for, and every tear shed for the sake of Allah will be replaced with a reward beyond imagination. Until that day, guard your heart, guard your tongue, and above all, guard your peace. Walking away is sometimes the mercy Allah is guiding you toward. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most painful decisions a person can make is walking away from someone they genuinely love. It is not difficult to leave someone you never cared about. The real test comes when your heart still loves them, your memories still hold them, your du'as still include them, but deep inside you know that staying with them is slowly destroying your peace. This is where many believers become trapped. They mistake attachment for responsibility. They believe that if they leave, they have failed. They believe that if they create distance, they are being unkind. But sometimes, the greatest act of wisdom is knowing when enough is enough. Toxic people have a way of making you feel guilty for protecting yourself. The moment you finally say, "I cannot continue like this," they suddenly remind you of all the good moments. They promise they will change. They tell you that you are giving up too quickly. They accuse you of becoming selfish. They make you question your own heart until you begin apologizing for the pain they caused. This is one of the most dangerous forms of emotional manipulation because it convinces good people that protecting themselves is somehow a sin. But ask yourself honestly, how many chances have you already given? How many nights have you cried the same tears? How many apologies have you accepted without seeing real change? How many times have you believed the words while ignoring the actions? A sincere mistake can happen once or twice. Every human being falls short. But when the same behavior repeats itself over and over again, when the same disrespect continues, when the same lies return, when the same emotional wounds keep reopening, then you are no longer dealing with a simple mistake. You are dealing with a pattern, and wisdom is recognizing patterns before they become permanent scars. Many people stay because they are afraid of being alone. They say, "At least I have someone." But my beloved brothers and sisters, being with the wrong person can be far more lonely than being by yourself. There is a loneliness that comes from sleeping alone, and there is a loneliness that comes from sleeping beside someone who constantly makes you feel unseen, unheard, and unworthy. There is a loneliness that comes from having no friends, and there is a loneliness that comes from being surrounded by people who drain your soul every single day. Never confuse company with peace. Some people are surrounded by crowds but have no tranquility. Others sit alone with Allah and feel richer than the entire world. Allah never asks you to sacrifice your faith, your dignity, and your emotional well-being just to keep someone happy. Your relationship with Allah should always become stronger through your relationships with people, not weaker. If someone constantly pulls you away from your salah, fills your heart with anxiety, keeps your mind trapped in endless overthinking, and leaves you emotionally exhausted every single day, then you must ask yourself a serious question. Is this relationship bringing me closer to the mercy of Allah, or is it slowly taking me away from it? One of the greatest tricks of shaitan is making you believe that your future depends on the people you cannot let go of. He whispers, "You will never find anyone else. You will never be happy again. Your life will fall apart if they leave." But Allah never tells you to depend on people. He tells you to depend on Him. The one who created your heart knows exactly what it needs. The one who removed someone from your life is fully capable of replacing that loss with something far better, even if you cannot imagine it today. Sometimes Allah answers your dua by opening a door. Sometimes He answers it by closing one. We celebrate the doors He opens, but we cry over the doors He closes because we cannot see what He is protecting us from. Years later, many people look back and say, "Alhamdulillah, that relationship ended. Alhamdulillah, that friendship disappeared. Alhamdulillah, Allah did not allow that person to remain in my life." The pain made no sense at the beginning, but the wisdom became clear with time. Allah was protecting their peace before they even understood how much danger their heart was in. Walking away does not always mean leaving with anger. Sometimes you leave with tears. Sometimes you leave while still making dua for the person. Sometimes you leave without exposing them, without insulting them, without wishing evil upon them. You simply accept that you cannot heal in the same place that keeps breaking you. You cannot continue giving your heart to someone who repeatedly returns it full of new wounds. You cannot continue sacrificing your peace just to keep another person comfortable. Always remember this, my beloved brothers and sisters. Every step you take toward Allah is never a loss. If walking away from a toxic person helps you pray with a peaceful heart again, helps you smile sincerely again, helps you trust Allah more deeply again, helps you sleep without fear again, and helps you become the believer Allah wants you to be, then perhaps that difficult step was not the end of your happiness. Perhaps it was the beginning of the peace that Allah had been preparing for you all along. Never let toxic people change the person Allah created you to be. My beloved brothers and sisters, perhaps the greatest victory a toxic person can have over you is not making you cry. It is not making you angry. It is not even making you walk away. Their greatest victory is making you become like them. They hurt you until you stop trusting people. They lie to you until you begin doubting everyone. They betray you until you believe loyalty no longer exists. They criticize you until you no longer see the good that Allah placed within you. Slowly, without realizing it, you begin carrying their darkness inside your own heart. This is why you must be extremely careful. A toxic person can leave your life, but the damage they caused can remain if you do not heal correctly. They may disappear, but the fear they planted can stay for years. They may stop speaking to you, but their words continue echoing in your mind. Every time you meet someone new, you compare them to the person who hurt you. Every act of kindness feels suspicious. Every compliment feels fake. Every promise feels temporary. Eventually, you are no longer living according to who Allah created you to be. You are living according to the fear someone else placed inside your heart. Shaitan loves this outcome because once your heart becomes filled with fear, bitterness, and hopelessness, your connection with Allah also begins to weaken. You become less grateful because your mind is always remembering the pain. You become distracted in salah because you keep replaying old conversations. You struggle to make dua with hope because disappointment has convinced you that nothing good is waiting ahead. The toxic person may no longer be present, yet they still control your emotions because you never truly released your pain to Allah. Never allow that to happen. Allah created your heart to know mercy, patience, gratitude, sincerity, and hope. He did not create it to become a prison filled with anger and revenge. Yes, people will disappoint you. Yes, some will betray your trust. Yes, some will smile in your face while speaking against you behind your back. But none of that should be powerful enough to steal the beautiful character that Allah loves to see in His servants. Allah says, فَمَنْ عَفَى وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Look at the beauty of this promise. Allah does not simply tell you to forgive. He tells you that when forgiveness comes with sincerity and wisdom, your reward is with Him. That does not mean allowing people to continue harming you. It means refusing to let hatred become the ruler of your heart. There is a huge difference between forgiving someone and trusting them again. There is a huge difference between making dua for someone and giving them unlimited access to your life. Islam teaches forgiveness, but it never asks you to become careless with your heart. Some people spend years trying to prove their worth to those who never intended to value them. They work harder, give more, stay longer, forgive faster, and sacrifice more of themselves, hoping one day the toxic person will finally appreciate them. But my beloved brothers and sisters, you cannot convince someone to value what they have already chosen to take for granted. If a person cannot see your sincerity after everything you have done, then giving more of yourself will not suddenly open their eyes. Sometimes the answer is not trying harder. Sometimes the answer is protecting what remains of your heart before there is nothing left to protect. Remember that your value does not decrease because someone failed to appreciate you. A diamond does not become worthless because a blind man cannot see its beauty. Likewise, your dignity does not disappear because a toxic person refused to respect it. Your kindness is not weakness. Your patience is not foolishness. Your forgiveness is not failure. These are qualities beloved to Allah, but they must be guided by wisdom. When kindness is repeatedly abused, wisdom teaches you to create distance. When trust is repeatedly broken, wisdom teaches you not to hand it back so easily. One of the most beautiful signs of healing is this: you no longer feel the need to hate the person who hurt you. You simply no longer allow them to control your life. You no longer wake up thinking about how to prove them wrong. You no longer spend hours imagining arguments that will never happen. Instead, you begin focusing on your relationship with Allah. Your heart slowly becomes lighter. Your prayers become calmer. Your smile becomes genuine again. Your hope begins to return because your attention is no longer chained to the people who wounded you. Do not let toxic people write the story of your future. They may have been one chapter of your life, but they are not the author of your destiny. Allah is. The one who created your heart is also the one who can heal it completely. The one who saw every silent tear is the one who can replace every moment of pain with tranquility that no human being can ever take away. Your responsibility is not to become bitter because of what happened. Your responsibility is to remain close to Allah, protect your character, guard your peace, and trust that every wound carried with patience for His sake will never be forgotten. So, my beloved brothers and sisters, let toxic people leave with their darkness if they choose to. Do not carry it with you. Walk forward with faith. Walk forward with dignity. Walk forward with a heart that still believes in the mercy of Allah. Because when your heart belongs to Allah, no toxic person has the power to destroy the peace that He places inside it. When Allah shows you their reality, do not close your eyes again. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most painful mercies in life is when Allah allows you to see someone clearly after you spent so long seeing them through love, hope, attachment, and excuses. At first, it hurts deeply because the heart does not easily accept that the person it trusted may not have been sincere, the person it defended may not have deserved that defense, and the person it kept forgiving may have been using that forgiveness as permission to continue the same harm. But sometimes Allah shows you reality not to break you, but to save you before the damage becomes greater. Many people cry when the truth comes out. They say, "I wish I never knew. I wish I did not see that message. I wish I did not hear those words. I wish I never found out what they were hiding." But think carefully. If something was hidden and it was harming you, then knowing the truth was not a punishment, it was protection. If someone was smiling in your face while carrying jealousy in their heart, it is better that Allah showed you. If someone was pretending to love you while secretly draining your soul, it is better that Allah showed you. If someone was only close to you because they benefited from your kindness, your attention, your loyalty, or your soft heart, it is better that Allah allowed their mask to fall. Sometimes we ask Allah for peace, but when He shows us the people who are disturbing our peace, we become angry. We ask Allah for guidance, but when He exposes what we need to walk away from, we resist. We ask Allah to protect us, but when He separates us from someone harmful, we cry as if Allah has taken something beautiful away from us. This is because the heart becomes attached to what is familiar, even when the familiar is painful. A person can become so used to emotional chaos that peace feels strange. A person can become so used to being hurt that kindness feels suspicious. A person can become so used to chasing someone's approval that their absence feels like emptiness, even though that absence may be the beginning of healing. This is why you must learn to trust what Allah reveals. Do not keep begging for a sign and then ignore it when it comes. Do not ask Allah to show you the truth and then pretend you did not see it, because your heart is not ready to let go. Do not keep making excuses for patterns that Allah has already made clear. One mistake can be forgiven, 2 mistakes can be understood, but repeated harm, repeated disrespect, repeated betrayal, repeated manipulation, and repeated emotional damage are not just mistakes, they are signs of a pattern. And when Allah allows you to recognize a pattern, He is giving you knowledge. What you do with that knowledge becomes your test. A toxic person may apologize many times, but apology without change is only another form of control. They may cry when you begin to leave, but tears do not always mean transformation. Sometimes tears mean they are losing access. Sometimes regret is not because they hurt you, but because they can no longer use you the same way. This is why a believer must be merciful, but also wise. We do not judge people's hearts, because hearts belong to Allah, but we are allowed to judge patterns, actions, and repeated behavior. Islam does not ask you to be blind. It asks you to be just. It asks you to be patient, but not foolish. It asks you to forgive, but not to keep handing your heart back to the same person who keeps breaking it. There are people who only become kind when they feel you pulling away. They ignored your tears when you were close, but suddenly they fear losing you when you create distance. They did not value your presence, but they panic when they feel your absence. They did not respect your boundaries, but they complain when those boundaries become stronger. Be careful, because not every return is love. Sometimes it is habit, sometimes it is control, sometimes it is ego, sometimes it is the fear of losing someone who always gave them comfort while receiving pain in return. When Allah shows you that someone's presence is damaging your relationship with Him, pay attention. When after speaking to someone you feel angry, anxious, distracted from prayer, heavy in your chest, and far from gratitude, pay attention. When one person keeps pushing you into sadness, jealousy, insecurity, resentment, and overthinking, pay attention. Your heart gives signals. Your iman feels the effect. Your peace begins to warn you before your tongue can explain what is wrong. Do not ignore the quiet discomfort Allah may be placing inside you as a form of protection. Some people want your kindness, but they do not want your boundaries. They want your forgiveness, but they do not want accountability. They want your attention, but they do not want to protect your heart. They want your loyalty, but they do not want to be loyal in return. Such people can become a test not only of your patience, but of your self-respect. And self-respect is not arrogance. Self-respect is understanding that Allah honored you as a servant of His, and you should not allow anyone to repeatedly treat you as if your emotions, your dignity, and your peace do not matter. There comes a point where you must stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and start asking, "What is Allah teaching me through this?" Maybe Allah is teaching you not to place your entire emotional life in the hands of people. Maybe Allah is teaching you that love without wisdom can become harm. Maybe Allah is teaching you that a soft heart needs strong boundaries. Maybe Allah is teaching you that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay in your life. Maybe Allah is teaching you that your peace is too precious to be sacrificed for someone who only brings confusion. Do not be afraid of the truth Allah reveals, even when it hurts. Truth may wound you for a moment, but lies can poison you for years. Truth may make you cry today, but it can save you from greater pain tomorrow. Truth may close one door, but it can open the door to healing, clarity, dignity, and nearness to Allah. The moment you accept reality, you begin to recover your strength. The moment you stop arguing with what Allah has shown you, your heart begins to breathe again. So when Allah shows you their reality, do not close your eyes again. Do not return to the same fire and complain that it burns. Do not keep drinking from the same cup and wonder why your heart feels poisoned. Do not keep giving access to someone who has already shown you that they do not know how to protect your peace. Make dua for them if you wish. Forgive them if you can, but do not ignore what Allah allowed you to see. Sometimes the sign you are waiting for is not a dream, not a miracle, not a voice from the sky. Sometimes the sign is their repeated behavior, your repeated pain, and the peace that only returns when you are away from them. Protect your peace by returning your heart to Allah. My beloved brothers and sisters, the final lesson is this: your peace will never be fully protected until your heart returns to Allah more than it returns to people. Many people lose their peace because when they are hurt, they run first to the one who hurt them, hoping that the same person who broke their heart will somehow become the one who heals it. They wait for an apology. They wait for an explanation. They wait for a message. They wait for the person to finally understand the pain they caused. And because that apology does not come, because that explanation is never honest, because that person continues acting as if nothing happened, the heart becomes trapped in a prison of unanswered questions. But listen carefully. Closure does not always come from people. Sometimes closure comes when you stop waiting for them to admit what Allah already knows. Sometimes peace comes when you finally say, "Oh Allah, you saw it, you heard it, you know the full story. I do not need to destroy myself trying to prove my pain to someone who refuses to understand it." This is where the believer becomes free, not because the toxic person changed, but because the heart stopped begging them for justice, comfort, and validation. A toxic person can keep you emotionally chained even after they are no longer physically present. You may not speak to them anymore, but you still argue with them in your mind. You may not see them anymore, but you still replay their words at night. You may not be close to them anymore, but one memory, one place, one name, one message can bring back the same heaviness inside your chest. This is why protecting your peace is not only about distance from people, it is also about healing what their presence left behind inside you. You must learn to take your heart back. Take it back from the person who made you feel small. Take it back from the one who made you question your worth. Take it back from the one who kept hurting you and then made you feel guilty for being hurt. Take it back from the one who used your kindness, your loyalty, your forgiveness, and your soft heart as if they were weaknesses. Your heart was not created to live under the control of someone who does not fear Allah in the way they treat you. Your heart was created to know Allah, to love Allah, to trust Allah, and to find peace in the remembrance of Allah. Many people say, "I cannot forget what they did," and perhaps you will not forget immediately. Healing takes time, but there is a difference between remembering a lesson and living inside the wound. There is a difference between learning from pain and allowing pain to become your identity. There is a difference between being careful and becoming bitter. A believer may be wounded, But a believer does not allow the wound to become the ruler of the heart. You may remember what happened, but you do not have to let it control your future. You may carry the lesson, but you do not have to carry the poison. Sometimes Allah allows people to disappoint you so deeply that you finally stop worshipping the idea of them. You stop thinking they are your only source of happiness. You stop believing your life cannot continue without them. You stop placing your peace in their hands. And although this lesson hurts, it is a mercy, because anyone who can control your peace too easily has been given a place in your heart that may have become too large. Allah may be teaching you that people can be loved, respected, and appreciated, but only Allah should be relied upon completely. When your heart returns to Allah, you stop needing toxic people to apologize before you can breathe again. You stop needing them to understand before you can move forward. You stop needing them to regret before you can heal. You begin to understand that Allah can heal you without their permission. Allah can give you peace without their apology. Allah can restore your dignity without their validation. Allah can replace what they damaged with something far better than what you lost. This is the beauty of tawakkul. Tawakkul is not pretending you were not hurt. Tawakkul is saying, I was hurt, but Allah is enough for me. Tawakkul is not denying the betrayal. Tawakkul is saying, they betrayed me, but Allah will never betray me. Tawakkul is not acting like the pain was small. Tawakkul is saying the pain was heavy, but Allah is greater than what broke me. When this understanding enters your heart, toxic people lose their power over you. Their silence no longer controls you. Their opinion no longer defines you. Their absence no longer destroys you. Their return no longer tempts you the same way, because you finally taste the peace that comes from depending on Allah. And do not think that returning your heart to Allah means you will never feel sadness again. No, the believer still feels. The believer still cries. The believer still misses people. The believer still has moments of weakness. But the difference is that the believer does not drown in those feelings. When sadness comes, the believer takes it to Allah. When memories return, the believer asks Allah for strength. When loneliness becomes heavy, the believer remembers that being alone with Allah is better than being surrounded by people who damage the soul. When the heart wants to return to someone harmful, the believer says, "O Allah, protect me from what my heart wants if it is not good for me." This dua may save your life, because sometimes your heart wants what your soul needs protection from. Sometimes your emotions pull you toward the same person Allah is pulling you away from. Sometimes your attachment calls something love when it is actually harm. That is why you must ask Allah to guide your feelings, not just your steps. Ask Him to make your heart love what is good for you and lose attachment to what is destroying you. Ask Him to replace confusion with clarity, weakness with strength, and pain with peace. The toxic person may never admit what they did. They may never apologize. They may tell the story in a way that makes them look innocent and makes you look wrong. They may move on as if they never hurt you, but none of that changes what Allah saw. None of that erases your patience. None of that makes your tears worthless. Every silent tear has a Lord who witnessed it. Every moment you chose silence over revenge was recorded. Every time you protected your tongue while your heart was burning, Allah knew. Every time you walked away instead of becoming like them, Allah saw the strength it took. So do not waste the rest of your life waiting for people to become fair. Some people will only understand the truth on the day when nothing can be hidden. Until then, protect your peace, protect your salah, protect your heart from hatred, protect your mind from endless overthinking, protect your soul from returning to the same darkness that Allah already brought you out of. This is not weakness, this is wisdom. This is faith. This is a believer choosing Allah over emotional chaos. And remember this deeply. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is to become free. Free from needing their approval. Free from fearing their judgment. Free from replaying their words. Free from begging for love where there is only harm. Free from carrying the weight of people who never cared about how heavy they made your heart feel. Real peace begins when you stop giving toxic people the power to decide how your heart feels every day. Return your heart to Allah, and you will see that no toxic person can destroy what Allah is healing. Return your heart to Allah, and the same pain that once broke you will become the reason you became wiser, stronger, calmer, and closer to your Lord. Return your heart to Allah, and one day you will look back and say, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not give me what I wanted, because He was protecting me for what I truly needed. That is peace, that is protection, that is the mercy of Allah reaching you through a door you once cried over. My beloved brothers and sisters, protect your peace like you protect something precious, because the heart that keeps breaking for the wrong people will struggle to remain strong for the right purpose. Do not allow toxic people to turn your mind into a battlefield, your nights into tears, your prayers into distraction, and your soft heart into bitterness. Allah did not create you to live under the control of people who only bring pain, confusion, guilt, and emotional storms into your life. You can forgive them without returning to the same wound. You can pray for them without opening the same door. You can wish them well without giving them the power to disturb your peace again. This is not hatred. This is not arrogance. This is wisdom. This is the moment your heart finally understands that not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay close to your soul. So tonight, before you sleep, give that pain back to Allah. Give Him the words you could not say. Give Him the tears nobody saw. Give Him the heaviness you carried in silence. Tell Him to heal you without making you bitter, to protect you without making you cruel, and to guide you away from every person who secretly damages the peace He placed inside you. And remember this deeply: the person who cost you your peace was too expensive for your soul. If Allah is pulling you away from someone, do not fight His protection. If Allah is showing you their reality, do not close your eyes again. If Allah is teaching you to choose peace, then choose it with courage, with dignity, and with trust. May Allah protect your heart from people who smile while poisoning your peace. May Allah give you the strength to walk away from what keeps breaking you. May Allah replace your anxiety with calm, your tears with healing, your confusion with clarity, and your pain with a peace that no toxic person can ever steal again. If this reminder touched your heart, write peace in the comments, because sometimes one word is enough to tell Allah, I am tired of losing myself for people who were never good for my soul.